Tonight on assignment, tethered by their feet and left for months, even years on end, Debbie Edward travels to Bali, where thousands of mental health patients are shackled.
Pemasungan tetap terjadi karena kebanyakan dari keluarga pasien merasa putus asa.
And Rachel Younger has been seeking the secret to a long life in southern Italy, a region which boasts one of the highest numbers of people over 100 years old in the world.
È rimasto quando ha visto. Dice, ma tu hai veramente 101 anni.
And to bookmark an illustrious career, ITN legend Tim Hewitt is in the country of his first ever assignment, Poland, to find out how the country has changed since he was stationed there in the early 80s.
We had one enemy, it was Russia. Not anymore.
Good evening and welcome to a brand new series of On Assignment. Over the next 5 weeks, we'll be bringing you fascinating and revealing stories from around the world featuring ITV's top correspondents. We begin in Indonesia, where thousands of people with mental health problems are shackled by their family and left for years on end. Superstition and a lack of affordable and accessible care means that relatives resort to tying up their family members because they're unable to cope. Debbie Edward travelled to Bali to draw back the curtain on the shackled people of Indonesia. This report contains scenes some viewers may find distressing.
When you arrive in Bali, you are welcomed onto Paradise Island, a tropical heaven of surf, sea and sand, which has made it one of the world's top honeymoon destinations. But away from the popular tourist resorts, in the island's heavily populated villages and towns, we came to explore Indonesia's hidden shame. The practice of shackling is still used to subdue thousands of seriously mentally ill people who are considered a danger to themselves or others. With support services centred around the capital Jakarta, families in more remote places like Bali are struggling to find a better way to deal with their relatives.
I'm sorry because
For 12 months, Kamang has been living in this dark, dank room, chained by his ankles, completely naked for his own safety. He constantly calls out for coffee and cigarettes. His family say they've been left with no choice but to keep him like this. He's been in and out of Bali's only psychiatric hospital for 14 years. Each time he gets out, he relapses into unpredictable behaviour.
Terakhir waktu ini pernah ngamuk, ibunya dipukul. Ibunya, habis ibunya saya dipukul sama anak saya yang umur 5 tahun. Biayanya udah nggak punya biaya. Sekarang biaya sakitnya tuh udah nggak bisa dah, soalnya anak-anaknya udah besar, nggak bisa dah nginiin lagi. Kalau dapat kerja, suaminya kerja kan untuk makan, untuk ngasih anak, biar semuanya dapat nih, anggoin dah, terawat di sini aja dah gitu.
Any one of us would find it the most pitiful scene. But as I was to discover, locking people up like this is common practice on the island. A few miles away, in a neighbouring village, we met Lou. She was sitting in her room with her hands chained together, her left ankle tethered to the bed. She couldn't speak to us. The words just didn't come. But we were told she had been raped 5 years ago and suffered a mental breakdown. Her father, a local teacher, said she has been in Bali's mental hospital 6 times.
Terus yang lagi kemari, lagi ngaduk-ngaduk gitu, mengganggu orang. Bin gitu, jadinya yang harusnya seperti ini gitu. Tiap datang dari sana begitu saja, nggak ada perubahan.
Recent figures suggest 90% of those with a mental illness in Indonesia have no access to services. There is an acute lack of availability and affordability. In this deeply religious and superstitious nation, traditional healers are often used before or instead of medical treatment. There's a widespread belief, particularly on islands like Bali, that mental illness is caused by evil spirits, a lack of faith, or due to immoral behaviour. There is a stigma here, and it is often the reason why families deal with it the way they do, behind closed doors. I travelled on to another village in the south of the island. The family of Kadek have tried both medical and traditional methods for the past 27 years. He was in his 20s and working as a teacher when his psychotic episodes began. He was able to tell us the wooden stocks are at least less painful than the chains he was in before. Our arrival in his village prompted the head of the local council to visit. The news of a foreign news crew being here travelled fast. He said he was unaware of what is going on and blamed his staff for failing to report it.
Kekurang jelian kita mempunyai petugas, ya karena informasi yang didapatkan mungkin tidak valid ataupun tidak ada yang berani membuka status itu. Kemudian yang kedua, dari keluarga sendiri, ya mungkin ya merasa malu, merasa enggan untuk melaporkan karena mungkin dianggap apa yang mereka derita selama ini mungkin sudah terlalu lama dan.
Despite the local politicians' presence, Kadek was still in stocks as we left. 40 years after it was outlawed, there are still an estimated 18,000 people shackled in Indonesia. The government's most recent campaign pledged to eradicate the practice by this year. That target has now been extended to 2019.
After the initial shock of seeing someone chained up, your first thought is that it seems so cruel. But it's clear after speaking to the families that there's no malicious intent on their part. Sadly, it has just become an accepted way to deal with somebody who's mentally ill.
The regional council in the village of Abang has come up with a solution. Yasa is watching his new cell room being built in the garden. He has been in chains for much of the past decade due to his tendency to roam and lash out. His parents told me he has an unpredictable rage and has hit them both in the past. Soon he will be out of shackles and locked in this room instead. I sensed a desperation from all the families I met in Bali. I wanted to explore whether there were any alternatives. And so I visited the one specialist care facility on the island. It treats almost 20,000 people a year. Most patients stay for 2 months, by which time they are deemed better or their family runs out of money. Their isolation units provided the inspiration for the rooms now being built in the community.
The new program from the governor then make people who suffering from mental disorder not became in restraint anymore, but only room isolation.
And you feel that the cell rooms are providing a good alternative to the shackling?
Yes, I mean like that, because it's good way if not locked. But you know, some family, because they cannot handle the patient, because less family to look after, they should find money, then they decide to change the patient individually.
Ketut was one of the first to be built an individual room. Having spent several years in chains, his family see this as an improvement. The Surani Institute is one of the few charities putting pressure on the government to tackle the country's mental health problem. Without them, we couldn't have spoken to so many people in such an open fashion. The Institute's founder believes a lack of understanding, awareness and money is holding back progress.
Pemasungan tetap terjadi karena kebanyakan dari keluarga pasien merasa putus asa. Mereka sudah bawa pasien itu ke Balian, kemudian ke rumah sakit jiwa Bangli, bolak-balik seperti itu. Dan akhirnya karena merasa tidak ada perbaikan, untuk menghilangkan stigma mengenai kesehatan mental di masyarakat, pemerintah perlu melakukan pendekatan dengan memahami masyarakatnya sendiri yang bekerja dengan keluarganya, dengan kepercayaannya, dan dengan lingkungannya.
Sukrani was the only patient we saw physically interacting with her family. Usually she stays in an isolation room, but for our visit, she had been allowed out. There were signs of clear affection between her and her sister, and signs of the erratic behaviour which led them to lock her up. Even her brother, who works for the government, says they are offered no support.
Kategorikan mungkin itu menjadi ukuran, tetap menjadi ukuran dari tindakan yang salah. Ya, dari kami berikan dong kami solusi yang terbaik itu, yang lebih baik itu daripada ini apa untuk dengan kondisi keluarga yang sudah.
Hospital, chains or these rooms are Indonesia's current approach to mental health. It seems there is a desperate need of a better solution.
Debbie Edward in Bali. We contacted the Indonesian government about some of the issues raised in this film, but they failed to respond.